Hello, everyone. Welcome back to DC Conversations. And today we are in conversation with none other than one of the most versatile actors we have in the Indian film industry, that is Konkana Sen Sharma. Her latest web series, Killer Soup, has become a hit on the OTT platform where it's airing, that is Netflix. And we are going to talk to her about what made her actually accept the role in Killer Soup, as well as find out more about her work so far and what are her future projects and among other things. So let's welcome Konkana Sen Sharma to Deccan Chronicles DC Conversations. You've been getting a lot of appreciation for Killer Soup. Did you really think that it would be a such a big hit?
I, I was so excited to do such a crazy, interesting role with Abhishek Chaubey and Manoj Bajpayee. Uske aage मैंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं. And now suddenly I'm like, wow, people are really relating to Swati,
Yeah.
rooting for
Yeah.
Swati. I've got a lot of love. I think for all the performances have been appreciated so much, and for Swati, I've got so much love that yeah, that's just an added reward, an added bonus. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that something that I connected to, I related to, that is connecting with the wider audience. As a creative person, as an artist, that's the biggest thing.
True. True.
Everyone.
And what kind of preparation went into playing that role? Because this is very different from what you've played so far.
Yeah, it is. I think the main thing was to be on top of the plot for me because it's full of these unexpected twists and turns. It's so unpredictable, it's so unusual because with a crime thriller, one has to kind of be on top of the plot because that is the most, like what's happening, who knows what she's doing, what somebody else is doing, what she's pretending, and Manoj ka both the roles, what he's doing, what he's pretending. So all of that was quite a challenge to keep it in mind all the time because we are never shooting it in sequence. We're
Yeah,
a
right.
little bit from episode 3, a little bit from episode 6, so it's all over. So that
Yeah.
was a big challenge. Keeping up with Manoj Bajpayee, who's just, he's a living legend. He's just, like such an amazing actor, amazing human being. But we were very lucky because we had a very, very good crew in terms of the preparation, and the director is a writer director. He and the three writers, they have really fleshed out the characters, written it in great detail. So all of that has really helped.
And talking about actors, there was also Nasser. So how was it working with him?
Ah, Nasir sir, I had never worked with before, and so many other actors, wonderful, wonderful actors who we really bond with because we were there for 3 months in Kerala. Nasir sir was the most gentle, unassuming, calm, and beautiful soul. He, in fact, used to teach me one or two poems for my son. He's so interested in his gardening, in his plants, in his rocks and pebbles. Sayaji Shinde sir, has an organization, an NGO where he's planting trees. And he has done so much good work. Many of the actors like Vaishali or Anula, Kani, Kusruti, all of these are such talented, amazing actors from various backgrounds, from theater, from film, from various places like Hyderabad and Chennai and Bangalore. I never got to interact, with this kind of a world.
Yeah.
And we played a lot of games on set. Because बारिश होती थी, so we used to often have to wait. I mean, crew is working or getting stressed or whatever, but all the actors used to be together. We used to play Damsharats together. We used to play Monodial together. So that was a very, very lovely experience. Very lovely people.
Yeah. So how's the OTT experience? Do you find any difference? Is it any different from movies?
Acting wise, though, it isn't. In that sense, that it's not different because you still have to learn your lines, you have to prepare your scenes, you have to get ready, you have to go in front of the camera and act or whatever. So in that sense, it's not different. But I guess because of the episodic nature of the show and because it's a crime thriller also, one has to, like I said, be on top of the plot. कि कब क्या हो रहा है. And also one really gets a chance to delve into the characterization because it's a show that's spread over 8 episodes, whereas in a film it's much tighter. The plot is tighter, the characterization also has to be tighter because it's a limited amount of time and space. But here, you can really delve into different episodes and different characters. which was really lovely. That is something which I had not really gotten a chance to do earlier, which I got to do now.
Yeah. So you've done independent cinema as well as mainstream movies, but there's this perception that independent movies, films have given you more recognition and meteor roles. Do you agree with that kind of a perception?
No, no, not really. I like to do all kinds of films. It's not always in our control. It's not like I decide कि हाँ मुझे ये करना है. Now you have to see which producers and directors approach you. So in that
Yeah,
sense, the project chooses the actors. And if you're lucky, then you're asked to I was very lucky to be able to be involved in a project like this. Sorry, you were asking about the OTT, your
yeah, yeah.
question.
OTT. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
OTT as well as, yeah. So
So
when I said there's a perception that you independent
no, I
movies,
wanted to
yeah.
say that actually, I've been really lucky because, there are films of mine, which are really connected to audiences, whether it's a Page 3, Wake Up, Say, Life in a Metro, Omkara. There are films which have also, Luck by Chance, there are many films which are really connected to audiences, and I've done all kinds of films actually.
Mm.
So it's not like one has given me more than the other. I don't think there needs to be competition or a rivalry because it's all different kinds of projects with different kinds of experiences, different kinds of audiences that it draws in. Like till today for Wake Up Sid, I get so much love. Till today, people talk to me about Page 3. So I've
Yeah,
been
yeah.
lucky like that. And there have been some other films like Mr. and Mrs. Iyer, like Doshur, some of my Bengali films, like 15 Park Avenue, some of the lesser viewed films, which are very meaningful for me and which have their own private which have their own following, they have their own audience, so to speak, who love that kind of cinema. So, in that sense, I feel I've been very lucky to be able to do many different kinds of films.
Yeah. So talking about page three, like you had, until then you had worked in Bangla films. So how did that role happen? How did you land that movie?
I had done two Bengali films before that. I had done Mr. and Mrs. Iyer and two other English films. I had done,
Hmm.
there's a film called Amu, which Shonali Bose had done about the 1984 riots also. I had done by then. So I was 4 or 5 films old. But I think what happened is with Mr. and Mrs. Iyer, because I got a national award for that role. So I got I got a lot of media attention. So it's like, then many other people also got to find out, oh, that, there's an actor like this. And Madhur Bhandarkar had approached me, I think, after Mr. and Mrs. Iyer to do Page 3. And Madhur Bhandarkar at that time had just finished Chandni Bar with Tabu, which I had loved. So I was very happy that, like, oh, such an interesting film has come my way. And I wasn't sure that I wanted to continue with acting. I thought,
Oh,
"Theek hai, I'm doing a few films here and there. I never really wanted to become an actor. I had done a few films because I had come from a film family. My mother had cast me in a film, but I had always thought, I'll go and get a job properly, in advertising or journalism or publishing or something, I'll get a job. But because of Mr. and Mrs. Iyer, because of, the way it connected with people, it reached out, it reached a lot of people. And then because of that, I think Madhur Bhandaka cast me in Page 3. And Page 3 was a big hit at that time. So
yeah.
thanks to that, I got a lot of interesting roles actually. I got to come to Mumbai. I got to know the city because of Page 3. I was here for a long time working. Then slowly I started doing more and more films. And then I kind of said, okay, theek hai, chalo, I'm an actor, I guess.
Yeah, I mean you played a lot of roles, it's like different kind of roles, like you said, like Meenakshi Iyer, Madhavi Sharma, Aisha Banerjee, and now Swati Shetty. So which one is something that is very close to your heart of all the characters you've played?
I think the closest to my heart is Meethi from 15 Park Avenue.
Okay.
Because in 15 Park Avenue, I play a person who's schizophrenic. My character has schizophrenia. And my mother directed that film. And we have known someone in the family closely who has had schizophrenia. So
Hmm.
that is something which I have been able to, it's almost like I was in preparation for that my whole life. And it has really reached out to, it has a small but loyal following. A lot of people, because of that film, many families you'll find have a member who is dealing with mental health issues, but it's just not talked about. It's just kept quiet. But many families have that. And, I think because of this film, because of my experiences working in this kind of a film, I have really gotten to I instantly feel connected. When people tell me, oh, we have watched that film, or we have a family member like this, or we know someone like this, so there's an instant bond. I have an
Yeah.
instant understanding of that world, what it is to have a family member like that, what it is to, I mean, there are many different ways that schizophrenia presents itself, but that is a great privilege to be able to connect with people like that.
Yeah. So you've been directed by your mother. What is it like to be directed by an actor mother who's
What a
then
training,
acting and
what
who's
a training ground it has been for me. I've been so extraordinarily privileged, actually.
yeah.
It's not a joke. It's not to be taken lightly. It's not a very usual journey for actors. That because I didn't want to be an actor. I thought, theek hai, my family is telling me I'm a good actor. Obviously, they love me. They'll obviously say I'm a good actor. And then, sometimes they'll ask me to do roles here and there. But I never took them seriously. I never took my own family seriously. It's only when other people started saying that you're a good actor, I started getting more roles, I started getting recognition or awards. Then I was like, oh, maybe I can do this, seriously. But because of my mother's training, firstly, Mr. and Mrs. Iyer was like a training ground for my film school, because how to approach a character, the very extensive, detailed look test that we did, the accent dialect coaching that I had to do, all the workshops, all the script rehearsals. And I was very young. I was, I think, 22 or 23 when we were shooting it. So
Mm.
constantly with a baby wearing a sari, those are not things that I was very used to at that time. But we
Yeah.
did very extensive preparation, which was like a training ground for me. So that was hugely helpful. And we were aware on location. It was a film which really connected with a lot of people. So for me, that has been extraordinary training. And also just watching my mother growing up, just watching my mother as a single mother, living on her own terms, successful, accomplished, just watching her successfully doing, not successfully means, like doing things. So capable, whether she's
Yeah.
acting or dubbing, or she was the editor of a women's magazine. So watching a working mother like that, that has been a wonderful template for a young woman growing up. Ki everything is possible, everything is normal.
Yeah.
This can be
Yeah.
done. What an
Yeah.
example.
Exactly. So how did you foray into direction?
I never wanted to be a director either. Actually, I had no interest in direction. But when I had my son, when I had my baby, that time I was getting less work. So
Mm.
I had more time. Because, the early part of my career, I was continuously working. Good films, bad films, all kinds of small films, big films, Bengali films, Hindi films. I was continuously working.
Mm.
Never really got time to reflect, pause, think. I was always busy, traveling, working. And when I had my child, at that time, it was a natural kind of a pause. Little bit there was the fear कि काम मिलेगा ना, काम कर पाऊंगी ना, कि अच्छा काम मिलेगा इसके बाद भी.
Yeah.
So, and I did, but it was a pause and it was a slow start. It took time again to get back into the groove of things, for people to again start offering me work. It took a little time. So I had that time to develop this story of Death in the Gunj, because it was a story that was very close to my heart, that I was obsessed with that character. So I could give myself that time creatively to sit with it, to develop it. And that's how it kind of became a film. And then somehow I was able to raise funds. Abhishek Chaubey is my first producer. Abhishek Chaubey and Honey Trehan produced Death in the Gunj. So when I started writing it, I never thought कि it's going to actually happen. When I was writing it, I used to think like, ठीक है, कोई तो पैसा नहीं देगा फिल्म बनाने के लिए, मैं जो भी मन में आए मैं लिख दूं. So it was very liberating because I could write whatever I wanted. I never had to think कि producer क्या कहेगा, audience क्या सोचेंगे. I never thought all that. I just wrote what I wanted to see, what I wanted to write, whatever was exciting for me, you know. And then once I wrote it out, then I forgot about it for a while. Then my mother would keep saying, go out with the script, try to get funding. What are you doing with the script? Then I sent it to producers. Everybody said it's very nice, but nobody was giving me money to make the film. And then Honey Trehan came on board. And then he and Abhishek had just formed their company, McGuffin, and they gave me the opportunity to make the film. So it happened very organically, very naturally. I didn't really have to. I was doing what was exciting and interesting for me. I was not कि और मुझे director बननी है, मुझे film लिखनी है, मुझे producers ढूंढना है. मैंने ऐसे नहीं सोचा.
So when you are actually I mean the characters that you play, or probably before you directed a movie, you discuss things with your mom.
Yes, of course. My first film, to my God, every day I would call her. Every day I would call her with a list of questions, small and big. Because
Yeah.
also my first film, I was making a film about McCluskey Ganj. इन
Hmm.
1970s तो उसका इंफॉर्मेशन कहाँ मिलेगा आपको,
Correct.
तो
Correct.
ऑनलाइन तो नहीं है ना, तो
Yeah.
family members and people who have lived at that time, who have gone through those experiences, you're talking to them, you're doing your research. Then I would ask my mother about like something about editing, something about lenses. What I who has a mentor like that? I mean, I'm just extraordinarily lucky that I had a mentor like that. My mother would patiently answer my questions also. I would call her every day with a list of questions. So I was very lucky.
Okay. Okay, just one last question. You watch South movies? Anything that you recently watched and liked?
I watch very few films. Very
Okay.
few films and shows because मुझे पता नहीं कैसे क्यों टाइम ही नहीं मिलती मुझे. तो मैं
Yeah.
लेट देखती हूँ, सब कुछ मेरा लेट पे चल रहा है. तो even like Angamali Diaries, Kumbalangi Nights, these are films that I've watched recently. Great
Yeah.
Indian Kitchen. So they are older films, but I have only seen it now. So these films I've loved. I've loved these films, and I have a big list also, South Ka films that are more of which I want to watch.
Okay. So nice talking to you. Thanks for giving your
Thank you
time.
so much.